Welcome to the Phoenix V2. This is an iteration from one of my older base designs, keeping the characteristic 3-roof bunker core, but it comes with a range of improvements, such as a starter core that adopts a vending machine bunker, a unique shooting floor coming with some great turret spots, as well as a mini wide gap peak that complements my new anti-door camp gatehouses. This base can be built from a mini starter, but I would recommend building a starter base if you're in larger groups. The base comes with a simple and open roof, allowing for minis and even scrappies to be used. This roof can be adapted for more cover. An inner shooting core ring is connected to many flank mobility chutes and respawn areas. Pair these with a spacious ring with loads of storage, the Phoenix V2 might be the base for you. As previously mentioned, this starter core is very small for this base, so if you're in a larger group I would recommend building a starter base. I have in fact recently posted a 2x1 starter design which can be adapted into a 2x2, I will link it down in the description below. As you can see, we've started off the tour showing off this disconnectable TC. It can be disconnected and reconnected as shown. Here is the upkeep of each external TC, there are 3 of them on this base. The total upkeep of this base is very cheap relative to its high raid cost. The outside of the compound is covered by these Patrico peaks which are connected to the shooting floor. Here we find an anti-door cam gatehouse that utilises a wide gap in between the foundations. This is utilised later in the shooting floor as well, which is above. This area has great visibility outside the compound as well. This little section is covered by many peaks, as well as these 2 turrets here behind the chain link. These turrets also cover the shooting floor, making them very efficient in the base. We enter one of the flank mobility chutes, as well as one of the entrances into the base through this little single door. We can crouch on the planter box to achieve some decent peaks outside the base. This side of the compound is identical to the one we previously showed. The open double door allows us to achieve an airlock. Inside this inner ring is our main living space with lots of deployables that you can customize to however you like. This inner ring is amazing for sealing during onlines so that you can easily seal walls from below. Here is our starter core, and here it is only 4 triangles, or relatively 3 once you place a vending machine. Here we find a vending machine bunker that you can access a TC as well as a small box inside, and here is the upkeep of the main TC. You can place this down early on into the wipe if you would like to claim your build spot and maybe build a different starter, or if you are in a smaller group you can live out of this. On each of the 3 sides of the base we have these flank mobility chutes that connect us to our bunkers. It does go up further into the shooting floor, I will show that later. This inner core area is where we find our 3 bunkers. On each of the 3 sides we have these wall stacking gaps that can be used to watch door raids early on into the wipe. These are quite situational, but these could be a great way to surprise raiders. We open the bunkers by placing twig here on each of the 3 sides. This allows you to enter your bunkers, and of course you should lock these in case raiders find an angle to loot them. What's good about this new configuration with the door behind the roof is raiders cannot loot the bunker even if it is left open without destroying the twig and therefore sealing the bunker again. For example, if they approach from this angle they will not be able to loot it unless they destroy the twig, but of course it will then seal it. You can replace this level 3 workbench for more storage if you would like. Coming up to the 3rd floor we enter our shooting floor and inner ring. Here we find some very unique shooting floor angles using these triangle roof ramps. We can jump on these to get some great vertical angles, as well as where the turret is we can get some angles looking back at the side of the base. You can in fact jump on this ramp and use these Patricos either side as well to achieve some decent long angles. Before entering the inner shooting floor ring area, we can use a siren light to clear it from above before we advance. We of course can use this horizontal embrasure as ankle biters onto the roof. This inner ring is covered by 3 turrets and allows you to quickly rotate between the sides of the base. What's great is from this shooting floor area you can seal the bunkers from here, allowing you to peek down into your core. On each of the 3 sides we find these Patrico peaks covered by the stone ramps to cover your head. This is an efficient way to get some decent peaks against raiders. As previously mentioned, the wall stacking and the wide gaps that we use for our anti-door camp gatehouses can be used for some peak downs. Coming up to the simple roof, we have a respawn bedroom with our medium battery and vending machines to do some trading. We enter the roof through the simple single door airlock. Here you will find a very open roof. Of course, this comes with negatives and positives. One positive is that you can land a scrappy here as well as multiple minis, but it is quite open to tall raid bases, so you might want to design this however you like, but I like the simplistic feel of this. You want to start off the build by placing these 4 triangles down to claim your build spot. The TC will go on the left hand side. You will want to upgrade this left hand side corner to HQM, including all 3 of the triangle foundations on each of the corners. At this stage you do not want to place anything in front of where the TC will be until you've placed the small box and the TC correctly. You also want to place a double door frame on the outside to allow you to place the vending machine. This can be a single door with wood, and then you can hatch it out later if you'd prefer a single door. The placement of the TC should have a slight gap in between the foundations like so, and then you can place a single door frame. As you can see, without a double door frame on the outside you will not be able to get this angle to place the vending machine. You should practice this on a build server. If you've got the placement correct, you should be able to loot both the TC and the small box. As you can see, you can replace this double door with a single door frame to add an armoured door later on if you would prefer it. However, I would like to note, if this single door is not destroyed in a raid, you will not be able to replace the vending machine. Symmetry is now on, so you must repeat this on the other 2 sides. Build out by this square, then 2 triangles and upgrade them to metal. Then you can place single door frames on either side and then wall in the rest, adding a double door frame in the middle. On each of the 3 sides we'll now do our wall stacking and external TCs. You can start off by placing this square here, then build out by 2 triangles. Then you want to build out by 4 squares, cap off with a triangle, then come back with 2 half moons. By doing this method you will be able to stay within the TC privilege range, allowing you to simply demolish the twig instead of hatching it out. After you build back by 2 half moons and cap off with a triangle, you want to build back by another 3 squares and then cap off with another triangle, then come back with half moons. You can then complete your build by placing these final 3 triangles, and there should be a tiny gap in between the foundations. Then simply demolish all of the twig build out. Put a double doorway on the right hand side and then a full wall on the left. You want to add a ladder hatch frame here for our jump up. It will act as stability as well, so don't leave this completely empty. For our bunkers it is vital that we add a square attached to the outer TC, adding a gap in between here. It is key that you do this configuration, otherwise the bunker will not work. You want to upgrade the right hand side 1 to HQM and then maybe this frame 2 to metal to help support it. Once you have done that, we will of course connect it to an external TC because it is decaying. We build back by 2 squares and then another 3 squares and then your final 3 triangles for your external TC. You then want to demolish only 3 squares. Here we add a single door on either side and then a window in front. And then in front of this we'll add a half wall and then a floor on top to create up a trico peak, and then low walls on either side as well as a ramp. You can also add frames that will connect to your external TC. Make sure to add 2 half walls here to make sure the disconnect still works, and then you can complete these TCs like so. I would like to reiterate, you have to repeat this on the other 2 sides as well. This is what the base should look like at this stage, then of course you should add doors and your TCs. Now we will expand our second floor and complete our bunkers. Make sure that these inner walls are facing inwards. This will create a conditional that covers the gap in between the wall stacking and our bunkers. It should look like this. Then you can add a wall here. This will be upgraded to HQM as it is directly into our bunker. There will be a half-height jump up here, so make sure to add this before the double door frame. This will allow us to add a shelf inside the bunker too. Then simply add walls on all sides of the bunker. It is key that the floor on top attaches to the inner TC, adding a gap on the outside like so. Then of course upgrade it to HQM. You can build this whole thing with twig first before upgrading to make sure it's working. You can open up your bunker and then place the triangle floor inside. Then go ahead and add double door frames everywhere else. Then add a floor on top. You can loot into the bunker through this gap here. We counter this by placing a half-height wall and then a window frame on top. This floor here is our jump up later, and of course make sure to add frames to access through this gap here. Then you can wall in this second layer here. This is now our shooting floor, so make sure to add a double door frame and then a full wall on the left hand side. Add a single door on the left or the right, it doesn't really matter, but this is access to our wide gap area. Add floors on top and then upgrade these outside ones to metal and then the inner ones to HQM. You can of course upgrade all of these to high quality metal if you have the spare resources. Then simply complete the interior by adding these single doors. Add the horizontal embrasures facing inwards. Symmetry is now of course off for this inner bit. You can pick any side and then add a single door frame. The rest can be walled in. This is the central respawn area, enough space for 2 beds. We will now do our shooting floor. Of course, you can repeat this on the other 2 sides. Place half walls on either side and then a double door frame in front. You can do this by opening this double door. You might want to remove it to help the placement. You can add a square frame that connects in as well. You then want to add these 2 triangle ramps in the middle. You would then want to add windows on either side and then a double door frame in front. This will be our access to our turret pod. Then add horizontal embrasures facing inwards. At this stage we can create upper trico peaks by building out by a frame, a half wall and then a floor on top. Then add a triangle off the side of this. At this stage you can then add a ramp which will act as upper trico peaks later. Then of course repeat this on the other side. The other side should be easier as we already have a jump up to snap to. We will now do our anti-door camp gatehouse as well as the rest of the shooting floor, including the compound. Simply build out by 2 squares and then your final triangle. You will connect it by placing these frames here, and then you can actually demolish the foundation if you're on low enough terrain. Then repeat this on the other side as well. You can add these windows and single doors like so. Of course you can optimize this to however you'd like, but this is a recommended configuration that I would use. We can then complete the shooting floor by adding these triangle floors, and then windows on the left and right hand side, and then full walls in front. The roof above can connect to the main TC in the middle. This will cover up the gap. This is what it should look like. We will now complete our simple compound. With the wall placement, make sure the corner connects to the edge of the single door on the right hand side. This is a very simple placement, so you can't really get it wrong. You can then add temporary floors as twig here, and then you can place your 2 barricades, and then you can demolish these here. We will now complete the roof. This shelf can be added for extra storage space if you'd prefer. And that is pretty much the roof complete. You can of course customize this to however you would like. I will now run through some simple deployables. Make sure that you lock all of the boxes inside your bunker in case raiders find an angle. And that is pretty much the video complete. Thank you very much for watching. If you did like what you see, please consider subscribing or joining the Discord community down in the description below. It is greatly appreciated.